This is Lise Nielsen, artist in the woods, and I am going to show you today how I would take a study that I'm not completely happy with, one that I did out in plein air, and I will change it on my pad of paper and figure out a better thumbnail for that, a guide. And so today is all about fixing a composition and talking about the lighting in that painting. My next video, then, I will take what I've worked on today and I will continue on with the painting process. I want to throw out a challenge for you to go ahead and grab one of your old studies that you're not completely happy with, and then see if you can follow a guide like Edgar Payne's or another guide that helps you fix the composition. So here we go with this, and I hope you enjoy this video. All right, so here is the Edgar Payne, some of the forms of composition to look at and try to follow some of these. These are tried and true. They have worked out for Edgar Payne and many other master artists. Here are the kinds of things to avoid. And so I wanted to talk about this first because in the painting, and I'll go ahead and put it here for you to see, the painting that I'll be working with today, I believe when I examined that I probably was doing some of this, trees on a line, and I was kind of all over the painting. I didn't really have a clear direction. Now, I'm not saying that my composition is really bad, but it could be better, and that's what I will be working on. Possibly doing the Steelyard guide. And so in this painting here, it looks like I can maneuver some of these trees back here. Also, I want to decide what's more important, the foreground or the background, and really the background is more important here. So perhaps I will drop my horizon down a little bit, simplify this, although I love what's going on here, and focus more on this and let it guide down in here. This really is an S composition, but I don't have my values done very well. So there are two major parts of this that I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on redesigning the composition itself, and then I'm going to work on making the accurate values of this. Those are the major parts of the changes I want to make. This will be a thumbnail drawing. These trees are okay, these two trees. This one's okay, but I will make this a little more important, and I'm going to do more of a grouping over here. If I lower my horizon to, I don't want to do too much because I do want some foreground lead in. So if I lower my horizon here, so this one right here is an important bush, and it's guiding the eye. So I just want to get that shape in. I'm thinking of shapes. So just briefly get that in. It doesn't have to be exact. Get that in. I'll play with where they are on the line because remember, I'm altering that some. And I'm going to clear this space here more, but make my main grouping over on this side. In a Steelyard, really one side is bigger and one side is smaller. And then on this, I want the eye. I like this lead in here, so I kind of want that to follow that. So this tree will sit behind. There will be a path here. This one can come more in front, so that helps with that, leaving more on the line or off the line here. Let's change the shape of this over here to make it more pleasing. You do not want your trees evenly spaced. You want to see variety in how you place those trees. So it is important. I don't want this tangent, so I want this to go up past here. I don't want this tree trunk to come down right where this little point of bush is. Okay, so I'm thinking through all of those things when I am designing this. I want this to cross the middle line here. I want it to go further. I don't want it to be right to the middle line, so I want it to go. And then over here, I can go this way. These are further away, these trees, it looks like, the way I'm drawing this. And there will be other things in here, but they're nondescript. A ridge that goes across here, because there are trees certainly behind there, and that will be a lighter tone, but these are my darker ones. And I want to be able to, with this, I want to be able to see a pathway going through this. I'm feeling like I need something else in here, but maybe I can just do some kind of bush in here. And darkness in here. Okay, and then tree line back in here. And then we've got our mountain, which is going to, now we're gonna see more of the mountain, which is nice. And that's gonna come down this way. I'm kind of excited to see if I can improve this painting. I was in Tahoe when I did this, and I was with a group of artists in Tahoe working. This was a really beautiful fall event that was happening there, and I love getting back to these older paintings and see if I can do something with the studies, because that's why we do the studies, not just to learn, but to actually use. I want to lighten up the ground plane. That is one goal that I have. I've got a bush coming in here. I want it to guide the eye in, and I don't want it to compete with this line. I will drop it back. You're seeing how these changes happen here. So I'm simplifying the painting. I'm using the good parts of it, but I am simplifying it to be a stronger composition. I'm going to try to work this out now and show you how I do the blocking. So I think I prefer to have more of a lavender, warm lavender background. So that I could take a little bit of that yellow, and then I'm mixing in with some blue. Blue here. Alizarin crimson, I've got ultramarine blue, and then I want to go in with some white for that. Make sure I get enough of a coating on that, because this is a little cheaper canvas surface, and I want to make sure it's nice and smooth to work on. So the oil going on really helps with that. Some alizarin into that. And I'm kind of following the tree design on this. This was really what was there in the scene. This was a plein air painting. And so I do want to use that because that's authentic. That's not just out of my own imagination. I don't really trust my imagination all that much to get things looking the way they should in there. And I want to mix up my darks, and I'm kind of looking at these, but I also don't want to overdo it. So I really do want to mix up some of those forest darks, the really dark ones first. And I've got ultramarine and I've got alizarin for some of those. I want it to be more blue than anything, blue and greenish blue, but a dull-ish. Not too dark, but dark. If you make something too dark and you know it's in a distant area, it's really not going to read correctly. All right, let's just get some of those darks locked in there. And I want to put them in thin, so I'm using some of my thinner. get this dark under here. This is a warmer dark. In here, just right along in here on this edge, it's warmer. Down in here, it's a warmer dark. It's closer to us. Okay, and right along here to the really dark. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and mix up for the mountain because it really needs to stay back in the distance. And I want to do a comparison right now. So let's see if I can, might have gotten that spot on, just the first thing I did there. If the shape isn't right, I'm not concerned with that right now. I just wanted to get that in there. And I will have some trees and whatnot in there as well, but some of this in. We were standing on a path in a state park area painting, and it always kind of, there were a lot of people out to see the fall colors there, and it's always, because I'm very much of an introvert, it's always a little bit difficult for me. As I'm painting this, I'm remembering how I was feeling. You notice I'm not using a photo at all. I'm going to go in with that other tree line now and doing these layers of trees and get that a little bit of alizarin in that. So I'm just using some of the mixture that I had in here, and then I'm tweaking it, pushing it another way. Anyway, doing these layers is really fun because you have to try to get it to read the way it should, still letting some of these other things happen in the foreground that need to be shown. You don't want to go like too dark because it's in the background. You don't want to go too warm. So it's a real challenge, yet it needs to read against that background mountain. It needs to read, and then it needs to let other things read in front of it the right way. So I wanted to do this because, I mean, not for my benefit, but to show you how your studies are really there to be used, to be taken out and used again. And you might even be able to get a couple paintings out of a study. Because you don't have to follow the study exactly. So they're really there for reference for you to use. Because this bush in here that I sort of made up should be showing some of those fall colors, and it's not. And so I'm going to change the hue of it. It can be backlit as the other one is backlit, but I really want to give it a sense of the season. The light that I was seeing there, I remember the light. I didn't look at any of the photos today. And that's what's really interesting about this. I know that these fall colors were back in here in the distance. And it'll be nice because I want it to look like an interesting pathway that leads back to these. I'm just going to push it and see how much I can push it here with some of these other colors and ideas. When I say I'm only doing the block in, what I mean by that is landscape painters, we start with a thumbnail out in plein air. We get our idea of a composition. A scene strikes us. We want to paint it. We have to figure out a composition that works. Then we figure out that composition and we go to our easel and our pochade box and we paint it. That's what this was. I painted this in plein air. Then bring that back into the studio, and now we're 5 years later. I'm back to this, and I'm saying, well, I want to do something with that. I don't really need a photograph to do that. So then I go into the studio, and I go to examine it, and today I did that, and I decided that this painting was worthy of painting again and making better, and there were some things I could see that definitely needed to change about this, and so I decided to look at Edgar Payne's work and to redo this. So then I examine that, but the first thing we do when we go to paint it is we decide if anything needs to be changed. We go to this, and I am not adding a lot of variation to this right now. I'm just doing a block in. So I'm thinking of the main shapes, and I am simplifying this scene, and I am just doing those main shapes. That's why these trees back here, they don't need a lot of paint on them right now. But they needed those darks to show that they are there and important. They are an important shape in this scene that is helping to make the structure of the composition. Okay. So hopefully I explained that well enough. I would like to not go too far today because I want this part to really fall into place for you. I am doing my darks and then local color of the shape, but I don't want to add the details to it. I need some grass color. I'm just going to take some of that I had, and I'm going to start with that real warm fall grass color that I was seeing that day. We had little rabbits hopping around us on this particular day. I love plein air for that reason too, because you're painting some of your memories. So the light, when on a backlit object, it catches that edge around the plant. You can get these really dramatic, beautiful scenes, backlit scenes. This is very much like this. I don't want that to happen, so I think what I will do is, you're always thinking of composition here and how it's, I think I'll bring these up more so they have their own shape. I'm not borrowing from this. Okay, so now it's not mimicking that, and I like that. just, if you get your dark and light pattern in your block in, you're doing well. I want to get a really light ground plane going to show my path. There were grasses, there were shadows, there were all these things happening in here. It's really important to squint your eyes at the scene out there, the beauty of the scene and all these parts to it on the ground plane. It was just throwing me, and it messed up my simplified path that I was after there. So I can go back in and throw some shadows in, but it's really important to get your ground plane in there, the right value. It gets a little warmer in front. And down in here, it's going to get a little warmer. You know, you don't always know what's throwing a shadow in a painting, and shadows, you don't have to show at what is throwing those shadows. Don't get hung up on that. You know, there might be a cloud, but let them be useful. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the sky. So I can mix a little sky tone here. Got so much space left over. This is funny. Okay, let's see if it's going to read. It does. It's okay, but this is a nice sky up here. I really like it. So I'm going to go in with more white. It is pretty warm, so I'm going to just borrow a little bit of this warm color and utilize that. You know, there's a lot of reflections out there in the scene, so you're going to see, if I borrow from something else in the scene, it just stands to reason that that might just be all related from something bouncing off of something, so that's perfectly legit. Don't cover your tree, lady. And be careful when you come up against the edge of the mountain. If you pull it this way a little bit, that kind of helps. It's kind of exciting when you have something just sitting on the shelf, you know, for, in this case, about 5 years for me, and not being used, not being enjoyed, not being viewed because it's just not good enough. And then you take it and you make something else with it. All right, there is my block-in, and I like it. It is way different than this, and it's gonna be better. I just know it when it's finished. I feel really excited about it. I hope that you enjoyed this video and are getting a lot out of all of these videos, and thank you to all of those who have subscribed. I'm having fun with this and I love teaching people, so hope you keep watching. Happy painting. See you soon.